Hello, I'm Daniel Schmidt, 40 years old, the landlord of the Elbschlosskeller, and today I have an intern.
Hello, Daniel.
What's up?
I'm really glad it worked out. I'm curious to see what I'll have to do today, whether I'll get yelled at or yell at someone else. Do I need to be afraid of you, or is everything chill?
No.
There's a guy standing there with his car giving us dirty looks the whole time.
Yes, he's watching you. No, actually, you can't compare the Elbschlosskeller, the neighborhood, and the Hamburgerberg, which is one of the toughest streets on the Reeperbahn, to what it was like in the 80s, 90s, and noughties.
Back when I started here, when I was about 18, we used to have 2 to 4 police interventions in a 12-hour shift. Now it's 2 to 4 in a whole week, so it's much more relaxed now.
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Okay, I'm curious to see what's waiting for me.
Who is the best intern? Hey!
Daniel, I'm out here now. I saw that a guest wasn't very happy with a decision.
Yes, that's right. In fact, the same guest also smashed the other window and clamped our wheels. That was all one guy. He was doing the pogo dance in our bar a week ago. He elbowed 2 ladies in the ribs while doing it. Then one of my employees kicked him out, and he really didn't like that. He then crossed the street, knocked over a rubbish bin, and threw the glass bottles he found in it across the street.
And he was obviously really good at throwing.
Oh, so he didn't hit anyone? He just threw things?
He just threw things, exactly.
Did you get him?
We got him.
And then you said, please don't do that again?
Something like that, he won't do it again.
Okay, good to know. What I didn't know is that across from the property is the Goldener Handschuh. Well, that's also such a legendary Hamburg.
It is indeed, yes. When I started here at 18, the son of the house from the Goldener Handschuh, Sascha Nürnberg, was still around. And we tested each other out, like you do when you're new in the area, seeing how the other behaves. Sascha knocked someone out during my shift once, and I knocked someone out during his shift. At some point, we became friends, yeah, and now that's how it is. Now the Goldener Handschuh is empty, we're full, it's nice.
I mean, it's really loud music at your place, and it's 6:15.
Yeah.
How do the tenants upstairs feel about that?
They're used to it, especially, well...
Being used to it doesn't mean I like it.
No, I'm sure not everyone likes it. I'm also sure not everyone likes that you wear a green jacket or that you're a Hertha fan.
Yes, everyone likes that. Hertha is the best club in Germany.
I'm curious to hear what the Union fans have to say about that.
I don't care.
See, I don't care either if they like it or not. I was here first. The Elbschlosskeller has been around for 75 years now. We've been open continuously for that long. Except for a break, of course. We were closed during the pandemic. And since then, the music has been on too. That's part of our concept, that the music plays continuously.
Wow, you just said 75 years, but you're not that old yet. So, how did you end up here?
I was born into this. My father was the landlord before me. Before my father was here, my grandpa used to sit here and drink at the bar. He was actually a master baker, but then in Schleswig-Holstein, in Colmar, unfortunately, he lost the bakery in the 5th generation. He then tried to drown his frustration here at the bar. And my mum was sent in to fetch Grandpa home. Of course, Grandma knew exactly where he was sitting and drinking. That's when she met my father. Yeah, and then I was conceived here in the bar.
Do you say congratulations to that?
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Aaron Troschke, and he's a bit hard of hearing, so the music needs to be a little quieter. But he'll buy everyone a drink to make up for it.
Apparently I'm buying a round.
Wonderful. So, as soon as he's out, we'll celebrate again with music, and then everyone can sing to him as a reward.
Ah, great. Yeah, great. Really good. Okay, then let's go to the boss now. Okay, Daniel, show me your area.
My area? My area is at the counter when I'm standing there.
Do you want to do a room tour?
My home is everywhere here. Yeah, come with me, come with me, come with me. So once we're here, these are our beautiful toilets. Look, you're welcome to film them. You can't lock them.
Why not?
Because we constantly have to save people who are lying in their own vomit. And of course, that means that in 20 years here, I've seen things that you can't...
Come on in, come in.
Let's breathe the fresh air together.
Of course. Look, I'm already working here today. Since I'm working here, I'll just take the bottles with me right away.
Very nice.
Every bottle that's returned can end up flying into your window. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't want to do the toilet cleaning anyway.
No, I actually once had a guest, a regular, when I was in my early 20s. And for several years, I thought that he had a disability, that he couldn't speak. For several years, he would always be at the bar with a long Holston, fall asleep with the beer in his hand, then wake up and make exaggeratedly loud howling noises. It turned out that he was a writer who just wanted to let himself go here and had a particular quirk. Long story short, for years he slept here in the bathroom when he wasn't sleeping at the bar.
He really fell asleep here, sobered up here. Even back then, we didn't have a toilet seat because they were always being torn off.
Back then, we still had porcelain toilets. We replaced them because they got broken.
Exactly, yes, this is our lovely men's restroom.
Great, I'm happy. I'll just take the bottles away real quick. Yeah, it's fine. So what's going on here? Your machine isn't working at all.
Right. It's not working at the moment. It's even worse here than with the window panes. We have to replace those things once a month because someone messes with them.
The alarm system.
Right, that'll stop beeping in a moment.
I used to work with that.
Really?
Winner.
Turn it! Yes, that's it!
90%?
It's that simple. This is private.
Exactly, that's the private toilet. When you are a part of us, you can use the toilet here.
They actually have a toilet seat, and there's toilet paper too.
There's no toilet paper in our toilet either, because if it's not stolen, which is the lesser problem, it doesn't cost that much. Then the guests constantly stuff it into the toilet. And on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, you have the option of calling a plumber, and that costs 800 euros to unclog the pipes, and I really don't feel like dealing with that.
But what if I need to take a dump as a guest?
Then you have to pick it up at the counter, and then they have to bring it back, and then it's fine.
So that means if I want to take a dump here, I have to leave a deposit?
No, we just make sure that the toilet paper comes back.
Okay, what's in here?
That's my storage. I can show you if you want.
Wow, I think that's awesome.
So, and I prepared this especially for you. Normally I would have already taken it away. This is everything that's left from last night.
All of this gets drunk in one night?
All of this gets drunk in one night. That's how it is.
Do you have that awesome liqueur from Trosh's there?
Do you have your own?
Of course, no way.
Yes, Olivia, did you bring one?
Then show us what you've got.
Of course, Olivia didn't bring one. She had one job.
Marketing strategy number 1.
Did you really get that?
So if you take a look in the back, that's what I restocked.
How many of those usually go out?
That varies depending on who's here. Right now we have Freiburg in the city. They're playing against Football Club St. Pauli today.
Yeah?
And of course, when soccer fans are in the city, there's a lot more going on and a lot more gets sold.
And if it's the end of the month now, for example, when the 3-day millionaires blow all their cash, then of course there's not too much going on.
But otherwise, you could say that about 3 or 4 bottles of whiskey go out here per night, for example.
And these are the bottlers here?
Exactly!
You're already finishing those off now, so you don't have to mess around with them again?
Exactly, so that when my wife or I aren't here, my employees can use them and can't steal anything. That's what it's all about. It only works with a metal ring that only dispenses when it's there. Back in the days during my father's time, we really had a lot of stealing going on.
By the employees?
By the employees.
Yes, the biggest thieves are the employees. That's how it is.
Is this the women's restroom?
Exactly, we don't go in there. The thing is, the majority of our regular female guests, I'd say about 75%, have at some point been victims of sexual violence. And if you, as a man, go in there, that's actually one of the few things where we act immediately. If you, as a guy, end up in there by mistake, you're out right away.
What do I have to do here to get banned from the place? What if I do this to you?
Then I'll smile at you, maybe I'll give you a hug, everything's fine, things like that can happen. Actually, it's already happened to me that someone smashed a beer bottle on my head, and then the mix of beer, sugar, and blood ran down my forehead. I stay relaxed anyway. I've been beaten up quite a lot in my life, and I decide for myself when I get angry and when I don't. I have that much self-control. And actually, here it's like this. You only get banned from the place immediately in 2 cases. One is if you assault someone under protection. Someone under protection could even be a 6'3" man whose head is just lying on the table. If you touch someone here who can't stand up for themselves, you'll get in trouble and be thrown out immediately. And the other option is, if you go to the bathroom with 2 or 3 people and snort something, then you also have to leave. Other than that, you can pretty much do whatever you want here.
There are probably also the super drunk people, right?
They're here too.
What do you do with them?
We still serve them?
If someone is really drunk and we think it's too much, then we give them a glass of water. We try to talk to them nicely.
Generally, what's wrong, Linda?
I'd like a Coke, please.
You want a Coke? All right, you'll get your Coke.
Wait, I'll just give Linda a Coke. Linda never has any money. She always gets something like that from me.
Hi, Francis. Can you give Linda a Coke, please? Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, sometimes I get tongue-tied. It's 5 o'clock and it's packed.
Yeah, well, most of our regulars don't have any family left, so at some point the social structure just broke down. That's why they've become their own kind of family.
Okay.
They support each other here.
For example, we currently have an older gentleman who is our oldest regular customer at the moment. His name is Klaus.
He is 82. His wife passed away from cancer. He sat at home for a long time, almost half a year.
And there are no more children, no friends, everyone is gone.
And then he almost died from depression himself. He felt like the walls were closing in on him. And then he remembered the Elbschlosskeller. And now he sits here regularly sometimes. His current record is 18 days in a row.
There's someone who was here for 18 days straight?
Or even longer. We have a lady, you'll hear about her later during the tour, who lived here for 10 years.
10 years. With sleeping and pooping?
Yes! With brushing teeth? As a young man, when I came here from my sheltered world, yes, I had a nice place, a girl, a pit bull, my dog, my life, and I had 3 days off. Then I came here fresh and with a clear head. She would sometimes come out of the bathroom with a toothbrush, if she had one, limping because she had just fallen somewhere or something. And she lived here voluntarily.
Okay.
As a young, delicate woman.
How often does sex happen here in the bar?
Oh, it's happened before, quite often, actually.
What do you say then?
Full speed ahead. So, and what's back here? It's quiet back here.
Exactly, that's...
Susanna, say hello real quick. We're interrupting your neighborhood tour for a moment.
Who is the boy here?
That's my father. He ran the shop here as the boss for almost 35 years.
You can see the resemblance in the cheeks when you look at him. He was a bit slimmer, without stirring up trouble.
A bit like Rene Weller.
Yeah, but at his peak.
Exactly. He actually boxed too, and according to other bartenders, he was the best bartender back in the 80s. He made sure that the Keller became what it is today.
When he came here at the end of the 70s, every table had a white tablecloth with frills around it and a tea light on top.
And within 2 years, he made sure that the bar turned into a saloon, a burning hut. And according to, for example, Sasha Nürnberg, that's the son of the Goldner Handschuh family, he was the best bartender of the 80s. Up there is a picture of Inga. She's currently the queen of the street, the oldest battle axe around here.
She actually once... Susanna and I had just bought ourselves a new Mercedes. It was my very first Mercedes. I was incredibly proud with that star on the front.
So, and I'm also a bit of a Star Wars fan. I'm a bit nerdy. And whenever I was driving, I would always aim at that thing like it was a sight. So I really enjoyed that car. So I drove to the Kiez with that thing. Got out. Inga says she was already complaining. So I went inside, the bar started working. 20 minutes later, she slams the star down on the counter. Damn rich people's car, that's Inga, what are you gonna do? You can't just smack the old lady, so I swallowed it, had a vodka, and then it was fine.
Inga ripped off your Mercedes emblem?
Yeah, and she threw it right in my face.
And you said thank you, Inga?
No, I didn't, but what am I supposed to do? She's an old lady, isn't she?
You said, Granny, come on, that's enough for today, come back tomorrow.
That's what I did, but there's nothing more I can do. Grandma came back again the next day.
So Inga wants to live on the street herself. She chose to go down this path of suffering. Unfortunately, there are sometimes people who are like that. It happens again and again that she finds somewhere to stay, gets warm, can take a shower, which is immediately obvious when she's been to hospital, for example. We see that here too. When people with psychosis go to jail, they come out again, suddenly they're clear-headed, well-nourished because there was food at regular times. And then they quickly lose it again here. And Inga is also quickly down again. Right now, Inga is lying around the corner to the left and she doesn't look good at all. And she did that, for example, by smoking crack here in the back of the room. Of course, that's not okay. And then we wanted to kick her out. And when we pushed her out, she emptied herself from every orifice at once. But otherwise, Inga is actually quite nice sometimes. Very nice. You have the tattoo. Show it to me.
What kind of tattoo do you have?
Show it to me.
The Elbschlosskeller tattoo. You have an Elbschlosskeller tattoo?
Yeah, but not just the Elbschlosskeller.
I don't want to see the Goldner Handschuh. Do you actually have it? Then that's how it is.
Why did you get the Elbschlosskeller tattooed?
Because I think the bar is cool.
How does it make you feel that someone...
It makes me incredibly proud. In fact, there are now about 55 Elbschlosskeller tattoos. Housewives who have it tattooed on the back of their hands. The place has become a cult. We are now an institution and people love it. And as a reward, there's a case of beer, and he can pick it up now. That's well known. That's how we do it.
A lot of people just took pictures of you.
How does it feel that you're now a local celebrity yourself?
I think that's absolutely fine. Actually, that's always been my standard, just now in a different dimension. Because I've always been a bartender, and you're only a good bartender if you can let yourself be celebrated at the bar. So basically, since I was 18, all I've done is make money by letting myself be celebrated. It's a bit bigger now than before, but in the end, it's the same game.
Are you getting yourself another Coke now?
I'm getting myself another Coke. Why?
Don't you drink beer, alcohol?
No more alcohol. I can't handle it. I lost a little sister, a daughter. In total, 76 deaths in the last 5 years.
Just today, another coworker and friend is in critical condition.
He was attacked a few days ago. They pulled a trash can over his head. His skull was split, brain hemorrhage, and he's currently in the intensive care unit.
And those are all reasons that eventually made me stop drinking for socializing or for fun, but rather to suppress things.
And because I've already been through all that, I don't even try it anymore.
So we're standing in front of the Ritz again. Daniel just came out looking very sad and told me that the colleague he mentioned earlier has unfortunately passed away. That's why he's inside now, letting his colleagues know, because it was an employee. He's also very shaken, so for now he's with the employees, and we'll see how and if things continue today.
A friend and former brother. I was once, among other things, in a fraternity, and after he, just like me, left a few years ago, he worked for me as a security guard. A week ago, he was attacked from behind by 3 guests he had asked to leave the premises. After they were outside, he stood up straight, exercised his house rights, and then they split his skull with a metal trash can. He had brain hemorrhages, was in the intensive care unit, but was allowed to be discharged after just 2 days. The doctor then said, okay, you'd better stay here a bit longer, because he had a slight fever, which could have meant a flu-like infection or something similar, but then he was discharged.
Now a few more days have passed.
He got the go-ahead from the doctor to go back to work and was standing at the door this morning.
And I met him this morning. He didn't look good at all. I said, Lars, bro, you go home. He wanted to tell me that he already knew what he was going to do and that he was staying there. I said, listen, I'm going to the office where we're going now. I'll take a quick shower and then I'll call you.
But I don't think you're going to stay here. Then I was in the office and got a call that he had collapsed.
I sprinted from the office to the Elbschlosskeller, still in my work clothes. He was lying on the floor.
They resuscitated him with 3 guys. There were 6 in total. He didn't have a pulse anymore.
His heart had stopped beating.
And then he came back. And then we lifted him onto the stretcher together and transported him to the ambulance.
So I took the stretcher out of the vehicle together with a paramedic, pushed all the people aside. It was intense too because now we had a drunk guy standing in the background.
There were about 40 drunk guys there because you had to push them all aside first and sometimes tell them off. Dude, get a grip. Something serious is going on here.
The fun is over now.
Yeah, and then his pulse came back. He was taken to the hospital, and I just got the news that he passed away.
Exactly, and of course we have a staff group. I was just at the Elbschlosskeller for a moment and told the cleaning lady Bina and Francis about it. Of course they broke down in tears. For me, this is now the 77th death in 5 years. I think that's why I'm taking it so calmly right now.
But I'm a very emotional, empathetic person. I also believe in the man up there and shed a tear earlier, but I was sure I would see him again. I've already pictured things in my head like going to rehab with him and all that, and I think I just can't really process it right now. For example, when my little sister died, I didn't cry my eyes out until the next day.
My condolences. Thank you. Now the only thing I can do is keep going anyway.
For example, I have a son, so even if something happens, I can't just say I'll drop everything and give up and nothing goes on.
The Elbschlosskeller is open 24 hours a day, and there are so many other people who need help. We still have a tour where 40 people are waiting for us, some of whom have flown in from another country, and we have to go through with it now.
Of course, it's not quite as much fun as usual, but okay. Okay, this tour starts from the office.
I'll also make an announcement in a moment about why we are one of the very, very few tours that don't start at the front of the Reeperbahn.
Okay.
Over 90% of the other tours start there, and there's a reason for that.
Where can I get a ticket?
You can get tickets on our homepage, elbschlosskeller.de. There you can find merchandise and also the tickets. We even have our own housing portal there.
And now, because you're looking over there, there's...
Exactly, you can already see the people there.
Are they viewing a flat?
No, that's the tour. Those are the guests waiting for us.
Wow! So that means they go to elbschlosskeller.com and book their day. How often do you do the tour?
Exactly. Right now, I do the tour together with Anna Ganger. She's the second tour guide, and we'll meet her in a moment.
3 times a week. And in just a few days, there will be another tour that will be only with me.
And I'll be doing that one twice more, so 5 times a week in total.
How long does it last?
The big tour with Anna is 2.5 hours, and the short one with me is 1.5 hours.
That means we're going to walk through Hamburg for 2.5 hours now?
Yes, that's right.
Great! Exactly, we have a special guest with us today. If you're camera shy, you'll have to go home.
This is really a big deal.
Many people always talk a lot, but he doesn't need to talk so much because he is who he is.
They say barking dogs don't bite and still waters run deep.
He's really one of the last of the old big boys here in the neighborhood.
Even though he doesn't look that old, he's been through so much that I'd rather keep my mouth shut. Either he'll tell you himself or he won't.
No, we don't talk about that here.
But you've become calmer.
Exactly.
What would have happened if I'd done that earlier?
Oh well, let's not say that here in front of the camera.
I didn't mean to.
I need a minute.
Yeah, Aaron can come along, my intern. There.
All right, let's go. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Private? Why does it say private everywhere?
You're welcome to take a look inside. When I work late, or Susanna does, we have a little house 17 kilometers away. That doesn't sound too far, but because we're in a big city, it can take over an hour to drive 17 kilometers, and when we work long hours, I sometimes sleep here. I have my sleeping area back there, and this is where I shower. You're welcome to take a look.
So from that point of view, with an office and as a startup, it always takes longer.
Emergency shelter, exactly. And here we have all the paperwork. We also sell spirits ourselves. They're packed over there.
Do we have Toshis here as well?
We still don't have them. You'll have to bring them, then we'll definitely offer them here as well.
So this is Berliner Luft. Feel free to take one.
Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome. Are you allowed to?
Yes, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
You're right about that.
Just so you know, in case you didn't already, the gentleman produces a much better Berliner, no, not Berliner air, sorry, but mint liqueur.
Yeah, Berliner Luft isn't good.
It's not good. What's yours called? What's your stuff called?
Troshi. Troshi. So from now on, everyone buy Troshi and have a good tour. Cheers.
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 I'm Daniel Schmidt, 40 years old and in the second generation owner of the Elbschlosskeller, and according to the press, Hamburg's toughest barkeeper. Yes, and then the second tour guide, whom we'll pick up in a moment, that's Anna Genger, and I want to show you that the Kiez is more than just Spielbudenplatz, Hans-Albers-Platz, Reeperbahn, big boobs, and colorful lights. And that's exactly the reason why we're starting back here in the neighborhood and not up front like 90% of the tours on the Reeperbahn. What makes the Kiez special are the artists, cultural creators, and the residents. And you find them back here in the neighborhood, not up front where the bright lights are. There we have the Freudenhaus. Among other things, that's Olivia Jones's regular restaurant. In fact, those are Germany's busiest ATMs. Kurt always wanted to handle things himself whenever young guys started mouthing off. Morning! No, really stay close together, otherwise it'll take too long. Everyone through the back, everyone through the back, everyone through the back, everyone through the back. Not at all, right? Or yes? All right. I was in my mid-20s then, that was my wild time here. I really didn't miss out on anything here. And it was part of my father's credo. Drinking was mandatory, but getting drunk was forbidden. The gentleman with the glasses, my grandpa Henning, he was a master baker in the 5th generation in Schleswig-Holstein, Colmar, lost the bakery and then tried to drown his sorrows here in Hamburg at the bar with beer. Unfortunately, he later died of cancer because of his drinking. So the next person who set foot in the bar was my father. There's a picture of him up there, kind of a Rene Weller look-alike. He came here at the end of the 70s, and back then things were very civilized here. Every table had a white tablecloth with ruffles and a tea light on top. And within 2 years, he made sure that the Elbschlosskeller became the most successful bar in Germany. At least during his time, it was #1. That probably also had to do with the fact that my father was old school through and through. And being old school also means, among other things, that the bar always has to be full of women. Because if you have 10 girls sitting there, you'll have 50 guys in the place. Accordingly, you have to be able to entertain, charm, and flirt. And because my father sometimes had a bit too much vodka, he couldn't always keep his word when he told all the swooning girls that he'd take them all home after the shift. He'd do his paperwork here in the office, and in reality, he'd sneak out the window. To bring things full circle, of course, we have to talk about my mother now. And she's down there in the small black picture frame, the lady in the middle, 33 years old, slightly tipsy. She was a regular customer here too. And that happened because when my mother was 17, my grandmother sent her here to the bar to bring her father, my grandpa, home. Grandma, of course, knew exactly where her husband was sitting and drinking. So my mother stumbled into the bar here when she was 17. My father was already almost 40 at that time. She fell head over heels in love right away. Yes, a very good-looking guy for those days. She also thought, wow, what a giant of a man. That doesn't have to do with my father being so much taller than me, but rather with the fact that just like I'm standing elevated for you right now at your Elbschlosskeller bar, you're also 20 centimeters taller.
So my parents then had their first date.
When I was 16, my mother told me during one of those mother-son talks, he came down the stairs and she thought, oh, he's not that tall after all.
But by then, she had already fallen for him, and shortly after that, I was conceived. She also told me during that conversation that it supposedly happened here in the Elbschlosskeller.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Heinrich Heine was a rascal, as my mother would say. He also lived in Hamburg for a while. According to his own words, he was able to express himself freely here. And he wrote a poem with helpful hints for you. These beautiful limbs of colossal femininity are now, without resistance, left to my desires. If I, passion unbridled, had approached her on my own, I would have regretted such an act. Yes, she would have beaten me. What a bosom, neck, and throat! I can't see any higher before I entrust myself to her. I commend my soul to God. So you think nice, it rhymes, high school knowledge, blah, blah, blah. No, we're learning something about Heinrich, namely that he obviously touched women without being asked. And that's where my moral message for you is already wrapped up. Namely, if we assumed that men would learn something from recommendations, that would be nice. But in my experience, men only learn based on experiences. That means we can assume Heinrich Heine got punched in the face by a little woman in a corset because he hurt her, and then he sat down at his little poet's desk crying and wrote a poem. And this poem is so important because in the second stanza, the moral message for you is wrapped up in it. Later, when you're all fired up, please don't touch people without being asked.
All right, we're going in here now, then there will be one last free drink. That concludes the tour. I hope you had fun.
Recommend us to others. Thank you.
Yeah, Aaron, I really enjoyed spending time with you, although I imagined today would go a bit differently.
What happened with Lars is still weighing heavily on me and my team. Let's say we call it a day for now. Then you can head back to Berlin for now.
But you have to make up for the internship. After all, that was the agreement.
Then get stuck in with cleaning toilets, carrying glasses, the whole shebang. The whole shebang, shall we? Wonderful!
Thank you very much. It was still a pleasure for me.
You're very welcome.
And if you enjoyed it, then leave a like, follow Daniel on Instagram, follow me anyway, or book the tour, link in the video description, then you can experience it for yourself.
And now say goodbye, and we'll see you at the next internship.
Goodbye. In Hamburg, they say Hummel, Hummel, Moas, Moas.
Bye-bye.